Hello, everybody. Dear students of Chinese, dear friends, my name is Hanna Triskova, and I work at the Oriental Institute in Prague. As you already know, I'm a member of a small team set up at the University of Connecticut. Our team is engaged in testing a prosodic transcription called CHIPROT, or Chinese prosodic transcription. I designed it to support teaching Chinese as a second language. To carry out our experiment, we need to give you some instruction on prosodic features, and this will be the task of 4 tutorials, each lasting about 30 minutes. Here is our schedule. Today, I will give you some introduction to prosody and tell you about CHIPROT. Then in the second tutorial, we'll talk about stress. The third tutorial will continue with stress, and then we'll deal with chunking. And the last tutorial will deal with intonation. So let's start. What is prosody? Prosodic features are features of connected speech or of fluent speech. They comprise things such as stress, intonation, phrasing, speech rhythm, or tempo. Prosodic features are sometimes also called suprasegmental features because they stretch over the segments, that is, vowels and consonants. I will give you an example. Listen to this. I would like to go to the cinema today. It sounds quite dull and mechanical and robotic and also boring. But what is more important is that the message may be difficult to understand. Am I really inviting you to go to the cinema with me? Do I really want to go to the cinema? You may not know. So why did the utterance sound odd? Because it was deprived of prosodic features. Prosodic features serve many important functions in all communication. So, prosody has many important functions. There are 2 major kinds of these functions: linguistic functions and paralinguistic ones. So first, linguistic functions of prosody. Prosody conveys, here you have 3 major prosodic features: stress, phrasing, and intonation. I'm sure that you know about word stress, get, weekend, together. The speaker can also highlight important words of the utterance, for instance, put it here, not there. And also we can de-stress or suppress words which are not that much important, for instance, conjunctions, fish and chips. Then the next feature is phrasing. That means that continuous speech flow is divided into smaller chunks. And finally, intonation. Intonation helps the speaker to distinguish between statement and question, and also gives us hints whether the utterance is already finished or the speaker still plans to continue. Now, paralinguistic functions of prosody. Prosodic features also can convey instant emotions of the speaker, such as surprise or anger or joy, his or her moods. We can tell whether the speaker is depressed or cheerful or relaxed or sad. And it tells us, they tell us something about his attitudes, for instance, to the communication partner or to the topic of conversation or to the whole situation. And the prosodic features also give us clues about speaker's personality. We can tell quite often whether the speaker is choleric or phlegmatic or patient or impatient. I mean, his character, not instant mood. Prosodic features also may tell us something about speaker's identity, his or her age, gender, or social status, and they are a very efficient tool in conversation control. They help in turn taking or in changing the topic. All this is very closely connected with face expressions, gestures, and body talk. And there also may be things such as laughter, coughing, crying, and so on. So, as you saw, both linguistic and paralinguistic features, prosodic features, are extremely important in human communication. So we can judge that they should be given proper attention. What are the tools for the production of prosodic features? There are only 4 tools. We can modulate only 4 properties of sound. It's pitch, length, loudness, and voice quality. But you may think this is not so much, but it's far enough, and we can do miracles with it. So let me say a few words about prosodic structure now. Speech is linear, but to describe it, we think of it as a hierarchical structure. Speaking of prosody, we can establish prosodic units of several levels. The smallest prosodic unit at the lowest level is a syllable. Syllables join together to create prosodic words, and yet larger unit is a prosodic phrase. And the largest prosodic unit, at least for our purposes, is a finished utterance. So let's look at prosodic features in second language learning. If prosodic features are so important in first language use and in oral communication, it follows logically that they should be also important in second language learning. But they are hardly taught. Teachers mostly ignore them, as well as the textbooks. Usually students learn only isolated words, so, not only, but they learn sounds of isolated words such as shui. And when they speak, they usually glue them together according to grammatical rules and do not really change their shapes. So here's an example of a short sentence made of 5 words. 地上都是水. We can imagine these 单词, these isolated words, as plants in the flower pots. So when you speak, you may just glue them together. But in that case, you would sound like a robot. 地上都是水. This is not natural speech. Natural fluent speech sounds differently. Let's listen to it.
地上都是水.
Yeah, made it louder.
地上都是水. 地上都是水.
Okay. So you can hear that it sounds differently. So what are the extra features added? That is prosodic features. First, there are changes in syllable prominence, in stress. The syllables or words 上 and 是 are unstressed, while 水 is very prominent and emphasized. Then you may have noticed that some words are tightly connected together and create some sort of prosodic unit. 地上都是. These are 2 prosodic words. And then there is the last prosodic words made up of a single word. So the whole utterance has 3 prosodic words. And finally, there is intonation. Regardless of tones, the overall pitch of the utterance falls down. You may listen to it once more.
地上都是水. 地上都是水.
So we saw that prosodic features are quite important, and it follows that learners of Mandarin need some instruction on prosody to speak naturally and not just to glue isolated words together. So this will be our task. You will learn the following know-how. How to make a Mandarin syllable sound stressed or unstressed, how to group words into prosodic words and phrases, and how to make a break after a prosodic phrase, and finally, how to handle the interplay between tones and intonation patterns, which are two, falling and non-falling. Now let me say a few words about the Chinese prosodic transcription, CHIPROT. If you wonder what is this animal, it's a chinchilla. Alphabetic writing systems record vowels and consonants more or less precisely. In case of English, not so precisely. But prosodic features are not reflected in script. They are mostly hidden in standard orthography. So the question is, can prosody be taken down somehow for second language learning purposes? Yes, we can develop some sort of graphic marks. For instance, we can put stressed syllables in bold, or we can add arrows at the end of the utterance to show whether the overall pitch falls or rises. And for Chinese, we have CHIPROT. This system was developed by myself in the course of many years, and its final version was introduced in 2021. And I hope it is intuitive, user-friendly, and phonologically sound. Now I will introduce you graphic conventions of CHIPROT. So what does CHIPROT take down? Three things. Chunking, stress, and intonation. Chunking, that is phrasing, and it shows you where the breaks are. And for stress, we have 4 degrees of stress, and intonation. CHIPROT can tell you roughly something about the pitch contour of the final part of the utterance. First, chunking. In addition to syllable, the smallest prosodic unit, we adopt prosodic units of 3 kinds and 3 levels, 3 sizes. The smallest one is a prosodic word. Usually it comprises 2 or 3 lexical words. Sometimes it can be just 1 lexical word, and quite not so often it's 4, 5 or more. Lexical words within 1 prosodic word are connected by a dash. For instance, 爸爸的汽车. So 爸爸的 is 1 prosodic word. The is connected by a dash. And all syllables are pronounced in one go as 1 word. Then the largest prosodic unit is a prosodic phrase. One utterance may have 1 or 2 or sometimes even more prosodic phrases. If there are more prosodic phrases in an utterance, for instance, 这是狗,那是猫, it's 2 prosodic phrases. The one which is not the final one has a double slash at its boundary. And the largest unit is a finished utterance. Of course, we have sentence final punctuation mark, so we don't have to invent any new marks. 这是书, that is a period, of course, at the end. Here is an example of chunking. It's a short utterance about, oh, my mouse is lost. It is. So I lost my glasses. What shall I do?
丢了眼镜了，我怎么办呢？
I put some low. Once more.
丢了眼镜了，我怎么办呢？
There are 2 prosodic phrases. 丢了眼镜, and the second one is 我怎么办呢? Now, degrees of stress. CHIPROT adopts 4 degrees of stress. The most prominent one is an enhanced syllable. That's the most prominent syllable, most conspicuous syllable in the whole utterance or prosodic phrase. Such syllables are in capital letters, they are in bold, and they carry a tone mark. A lower level, it's a normal syllable. It is a normal ordinary syllable with a full tone, not overly prominent. And it is in bold, and it has a tone mark. Then there is a weakened syllable. It's a tonal syllable whose tone is either weakened or completely gone, neutralized. For instance, 个, a classifier in 这个, there's no fourth tone anymore. So such syllables are non-bold and carry a tone mark. And finally, the lowest and weakest level is a toneless syllable. It's a morpheme without any lexical tone, such as the particle the. So let's use the same sentence as an example. There are 4 enhanced syllables, 劲 and 半, 3 normal syllables, 丢, 言 and 真, and 1 unstressed tonal syllable, 我, and finally 3 toneless syllables, 了, 嘛, and 那. Let's listen to it once more when my mouse will show up. Here it is.
丢了眼镜我怎么办呢？丢了眼镜我怎么办呢？
So I hope you have noticed that 劲 and 半 are the most prominent syllables. And finally, intonation. CHIPROT adopts only 2 intonation patterns, falling and non-falling. We can get along with ordinary sentence punctuation marks to signalize them. Falling pitch pattern is characteristical for declarative sentences so we have a period at the end of such sentences, and something similar pays for imperative sentences. Questions are a bit more complicated because we have several sorts of questions in Chinese. So particle questions such as mock question have a non-falling pitch pattern, and are indicated by a double question mark, while other types of questions, such as questions with question words, for instance, 什么, 怎么, 多少, and so on, have a falling pitch pattern. So they have a plain, simple question mark. And I need only one special mark, a double slash, to indicate the boundary of a non-final phrase. It signals incompleteness of the utterance. The speaker will still continue. So here's an example, the same sentence again.
丢了眼镜我怎么办呢？
So the first prosodic phrase is not final, so we cannot go down. It has a non-falling pattern. As a result, the syllable 劲, which has a 4th tone, does not go down completely. It's 劲, not 劲. Listen to it once more.
丢了眼镜我怎么办呢？
眼镜我怎么办呢? And something similar happens to 半 at the end because it's a particular no question, so we need a non-falling pitch pattern. So the 4th tone on 半 is not 半, but 半. Okay. So today I tried to give you a rough idea about prosody in Mandarin and about CHIPROT. And we shall go to more detail in next tutorials next time. So that's all for today, and thank you for attention. Bye.